I've always felt like I was chasing shadows. In our village, everyone seemed to know who they were, whose daughter or son they belonged to. Lineage was everything. But me. I was different. Not in the obvious ways, but in the kind of way that made people pause when they looked too closely. My name is Zina Chika, or at least that's the name I've carried for as long as I can remember. I'm 17 now, but for most of my life, I've felt like a stranger in my own skin. In our village, names tied you to your roots, your ancestors. But for me, that tie always felt fragile, like it could snap at any moment. I remember the day I first sensed it. I was no older than 6, playing by the river. A group of older boys watched me from the trees. I thought they were just being mean when one of them whispered loud enough for me to hear. "She's not one of us." It should have rolled off my back. But it didn't. As I grew, the whispers turned into stares. Even the elders seemed uneasy around me. I looked like my mother. Same deep brown skin. Same high cheekbones. But my eyes, those weren't hers. And my father, Chika, he treated me well enough. But there was a wall between us that no love could cross. It wasn't his fault. I saw it in the way he carried himself around me, like I was a puzzle he had long stopped trying to solve. But it wasn't until the night of the storm that I realized the truth had been chasing me all along. The rain came hard that evening, beating against the clay walls of our hut. I sat by the fire, watching my mother cook, listening to the rain. "Mama," I said quietly. "Why doesn't Papa ever smile at me the way he does at Nkem and Obina?" Her hands froze over the pot. The fire crackled between us, filling the space where her answer should have been. "You're imagining things, Zina," she said without looking up. But I wasn't. I knew I wasn't. Days passed, but the question lingered in my chest like an unwelcome guest. Then, it happened. I was returning from the well when I heard them. 2 village women speaking in hushed tones near the path. "Poor Chika," one said. "Raising a child that isn't his." The clay pot nearly slipped from my hands. "It's not his fault," the other whispered back. "That child, she's not from a man at all." Didn't need to hear more. I ran. I don't know why I ran. But something inside me was screaming for answers I wasn't ready for. By the time I reached our hut, I was trembling, rainwater dripping from my hair. "Mama," I gasped. "Tell me the truth." She turned slowly, her eyes wide, like I had caught her in a secret she had buried for years. "What are you talking about?" she asked, forcing a smile that didn't touch her eyes. "Who is my real father?" I demanded. Her smile faded. "Zina, stop this." But I couldn't stop. "Why do they say I'm not his?" My voice cracked. "Why does everyone look at me like I'm something else?" Before she could answer, the door creaked open. Chika stepped inside, rain glistening on his shoulders. He glanced between us, sensing the storm that wasn't from the sky. "What's going on?" he asked quietly. I looked at him, hoping, begging, that he would deny it. But he didn't. Instead, he lowered his gaze, and in that moment, I knew. "Please," I whispered. "Tell me it's not true." Silence filled the room, heavy and suffocating. Finally, my mother spoke. "Zina," she began, tears pooling in her eyes. "Your father, he isn't who you think he is." I could barely breathe. "Then who is he?" I asked. She opened her mouth, but the words caught in her throat. "It's not a man," Chika said, his voice barely above a whisper. I thought of the stories the elders told late at night. Stories of spirits who roam the forests, shape-shifting into animals. "No," I whispered, shaking my head. "It's just a myth." My mother's tears told me otherwise. I remembered the black dog. The one that followed my mother everywhere before I was born. The one that stood guard by her side every night. The same dog that vanished the night I came into this world. He wasn't just a dog, was he? I choked out. Neither of them answered. But they didn't have to. The truth was there, wrapped around me like the cold air. I wanted to scream, to cry, to forget. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't outrun the shadow of who or what I was. That night, I sat alone by the fire, staring into